Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. On a Sunday evening, we call this the weekend special, and this is a lovely Sunday evening to be precise. We're going to have a quick show together, and it's going to be a great time. As we always say on the show, it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. I have our analyst on standby, and I would like to use the opportunity to welcome Dr. Fini Follow. Good evening. How are you today?
Good evening. I'm very well, thank you. And it's so good to be here this evening.
Yes, it's a Sunday evening, a cool one at that, the 12th of September, a day after 9/11 Memorial, right? And we have an exciting conversation today. We have a topic that I believe that people out there would like to listen to, would like to share, or like to have a review. And if you're just joining us, this is the Good Morning Education Show, but this is called the Weekend Special. On Saturdays, show on Saturdays 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and on Sundays we have it at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And today we will be talking about a topic that should excite you and interest you. We are talking about what about toys, or what about the toys? And it's an important topic because it speaks about um, a very, well, not so regular culture that has been, harnessed, as it were, but it's all toys, and that's what we'll be talking about today. The toy industry in Africa, in Nigeria, what role do they play in reinforcing education? What's the value, economic value? What's the implication? What's the cultural benefit? That's what we're looking at tonight. And Sophie, I'm sure you're excited to be joining us tonight.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And I'm wondering if there's going to be toy giveaway.
Well, let's see if we have enough people in us. Who knows? Something can happen, right?
Oh, hey.
Yes, 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 yes. So, I'd like us to start by looking at the obvious. What are toys?
Okay. The very simple answer to that would be that toys are playthings. They are. They can be used to engage children, especially when they really are not doing something serious, or maybe they're not doing something academic, or we just want to keep them engaged. So some toys are those things that they play with and that keep them engaged.
Okay, I like that. Toys are playthings. But really, to be honest, toys are much more than playthings. We should realize that the first foundation is that toys are tools in a way. They are tools for play. They are tools for leisure. They are tools for learning. It's just that we've attracted less of value to toys. We've attached distraction to toys. We've seen that if you want to distract a child or you want to keep a child busy, just hand over a toy to that child. And we've not seen a lot of us in this part of the world leverage and harness the benefit of toys. Toys actually present themselves as tools, and a lot of times they are learning aids in some disguise. So, and I believe that we need to begin to look at that, as it were. When you look at the toy industry in some countries, you find that it's not just a small industry. It's an industry that gravitates into a lot of income. And this is really what we would like to draw people's attention to, especially for those who are listening to us tonight. It's going to be a very short show. Yes, we know that. But we also believe that in this short conversation, we're able to bring people to the reality of toys. The toy industry in Africa, let's put it into perspective. In Nigeria, what is it like, Finn? What's your understanding? Yeah.
I think the toy industry in Nigeria is it's currently uh, well, I won't even say that it's that in existence because we don't see so much from many of the toys we see, except they're just being labeled wrong. Many of the toys we see are made in China, made in some other place, but not Nigeria. And then when you see made in Nigeria on it, you just try as much as possible to avoid it because the thinking is it might not last long, or it might not be it might not be durable. So you just want to circumvent it. But I believe that apart from the manufacturing of toys, in Nigeria we have a lot of toys. But what I have come to, or what has given me concern over time, over the years, is well, not over so many years, but recently, is how much of education is in our toys. So we see a lot of balls, we see a lot of dolls, we see, but how many of them really are educational? I look at them and I'm wondering how many of these are Montessori toys. How many of these are toys that you really can use to teach literacy, to teach numeracy, to even teach some other skills. Like that's what comes to my mind when I look at the toy industry in Nigeria and wondering, are we just ma- is it manufacturing or maybe stocking? Are we just stocking those things that we feel parents want, or we're really stocking stuff that children need? I mean, at the time I was looking for textured books, books that either that had feelings attached to them, like you can if you was talking about something soft, you would have the soft part of the book and all of that. I was looking for those. I was looking for some other books for to teach feel to teach the sense of feel for children, and eventually I had to go online, and online meant Amazon because they were not readily available. If they are here, then they're not easy to come by. So that for me is what the industry is and what the challenge is.
All right. Thank you so much. While you were speaking, our very own Dr. Omotola the Great joined us. Good evening, Dr. Omotola. This is evening in Africa and Nigeria. And I'd like
Good
to say,
morning
how
from here. Good morning and good evening. Good.
embrace the value of a child, especially when we see them as something to, apart from the birth of a child that is welcome with praise. I think the next thing that we do is wait till the child is an adult, or maybe having a landmark achievement, being a graduate or getting married. Because for you to think about helping the world of a child, it's got to require imagination, it's got to require thinking. And just like Finn said, it's not going to only be surface thinking, because when you think about some of these stories, children themselves, based on their developmental stages, create the functionalities beyond the primary design of the toys. I remember how you see some of those toys when we're growing up, the way they market it. They market a particular toy soldier, and then they show the adventure, simulate it, and you're almost like waiting to ask your parents to get you a box of a toy soldier, you know. And it's just a static toy, but then the children understand this is a figure, this is an hero, this is a character hero, and then they begin to add their own meaning and usefulness to it. I think that it's one of the cheapest way to introduce technology into education, because toys themselves are an element of technology. Let's hear from Dr. Motala. What are your thoughts on that?
I
Doctor,
believe the son. Yes, sorry, my son was crying, so I was trying to get him to keep quiet. But anyway, can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I believe toys are very important in development, and I can definitely say that in my own, like being here and having two kids on the five, they've been like very helpful in their development for sure. Of course, yes, I'm not saying that I've given the total range to toys to teach my children or help them to grow, but they stimulate learning on a deeper level. I think I agree with your assessment that sometimes we we forget about how like children need creativity to open their mind to other things and other ways beyond what you see. Because if you look at our education system, 98% of it, if I'm correct, which is like we consider the public school. I don't know about most private schools, but most public schools that we have, they just believe in much rote memorization and just getting like, okay, this is the what is in the curriculum. There's no opportunity for creativity. There's no opportunity for trying something outside of the box. But with toys, they can learn so much. Like my son, he knows how to play the piano, at least in his mind, because he has a piano toy that teaches him different range and things like that. My daughter, she knows how to save. She has a toy that tells her how much she's spending, how much she's giving, how much she's saving. And so different kind of things. And at this age, they understand the concept, they're able to learn it. And so I agree that with toys, this, if it's introduced appropriately, it can really enhance education for students. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Just like I said, today is a Sunday special, and we're just trying to make sure that we just throw our thoughts in the air, and then, of course, get people to start thinking. One of the things that I would really want to say is that you will see me in that space, in the toy industry space. Absolutely, it's something that we also begin to look at because we're talking about creative thinking. We must begin to ask ourselves, all these countries that we begin to celebrate the level and the quality of education, you find out that education content development, education content supply is not just in the written form. It's not just in articles. It's not just in what you teach. You find out that these countries are heavily invested in the childhood experience of children. And just like you said, Dr. Motala, you have toys for your kids, you have toys that teach them several things. You walk into some stores are just for toys. It's not just an element on the aisle, it's not just some few pieces on the shelf. There are some companies that are so big, and in turnover and revenue, they've made so much from toys. In fact, it was from toys they evolved into lifestyle items. And this is something that we must begin to think about. Finn, what do you see about the future of toy industry? Because I personally I am interested in it. I am going into it, and I believe I'll pull you guys into it, especially you and Dr. Motola and the rest of the crew. So what are your thoughts on that? Very quickly.
First of all, I'm very excited about the fact that you want to dabble into toys. That means a whole lot of toys for a whole lot of toys for us to play with. I don't see any rule that says toys are limited to children. So yay, I'm excited about that already. And well, talking about the future of toys, as for me, it's also like looking at the future of education. We're having fresh eyes, having fresh blood, we're having fresh concepts around education now, and we're having people push it. We're seeing a new crop of teachers, we're seeing a new crop of educators, and invariably we're going to have a takeover in the education system that is completely new, that is different, that is forward looking, that is advancement driven. And I see the same thing happening with toys, because there is no way you have somebody like Ifyok, for example, being in early years, in the early years space, that she would not think of toys that children in her space, that would be useful to children in her space. I'm a primary years educator. I'm more into that space than the secondary years. And when I think about children in that space also, I think about giving them toys that are not just plastic or rubber or something that just rolls or something that just stands and falls. So I see that the future of toys and of the toy industry in the country it's a promising one. It's going to be a takeover, and at that takeover, we look forward to it.
Thank you so much. I
Can I
love the
just add
word
something to
takeover, and I
what
want
you
you to,
said?
yes, yes.
Yeah, so I was going to say that I agree with saying that yes, absolutely, like toys are not just for kids, but they are also for adults as well. So I wanted to give an example of a toy that I know that I've been used to effectively, like here to up like teenagers, like people in high school, which is like secondary school, like learners stress at 3, to really think about making the right choices, especially when it comes to their reproductive health. So they give like there's class that almost every different schools across the US does where they use toy like real they make them real life big like a baby size as if they just gave birth to children, but they program them to cry, to poop, to want food and all of those kind of things. And they give them, I think, like 48 to 72 hours to take care of these toys to get them to understand this is the choice you're going to make if you end up like if you have an unplanned pregnancy. This is what it will require. This is how much work it will take. And sometimes at the end of the day, some of them end up killing their kids because they're so that they didn't. And then eventually, over time, according to the research, it has really reduced and has helped teenagers and young adults make the choice. Where, okay, wait, am I ready to do this or not? And so, yeah, so I was ready to put that in.
Thank you so much. I said I love the way Fini captured it. She said the word take over. And I think that we must have that perspective. And it's a note of warning, and that everyone out there should recognize that we must not all be doing the same thing, or we must not wait till it is so many people doing the same thing. It's even wrong before we begin to push. And that's why I said that, for example, I'm going to be pushing and holding and dragging you guys, Fini, Motola, Ifyok, Titi and the likes. We're going to go into this space, you know, and I've actually mentored and coached some people before now when I was talking about some of the industries within the education. Pretty much integral thing if you want to accelerate learning, experiential learning at that, if you want to create support, if you want to also ensure that there's redistribution of income, that's the way to go. So while you were speaking, Dr. Motola, we had our last one joining us from the UAE. Welcome, Ifyok Ikeago. How are you today?
Hi. Hi. Good
Uh,
evening.
is that your
I'm
daughter?
fine, thank you. Yes, it's Chimkasi. Say good evening.
It's me, Chinkasi. Good evening.
Hello.
It's time to go to bed.
Hello,
Oh,
how are you?
can you hear? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, it's time to go to bed. Yes,
Yeah,
we
I
can.
mean,
Oh, you're the best.
okay, all right. Good evening. Yes, it's actually time to go to bed. But I had to come in. This topic is one that is very dear to my heart, and so of course I had to try to come in. I probably won't be here for too long, but I'm glad to be here.
We don't also plan to stay here for too long. Today's show is going to be very short, for obvious reason. We
Okay.
want you to put your child back to bed. A lot of people are getting ready for school tomorrow. We're going to end in the
Yeah.
next 7 minutes. So if you're available
Eh?
for 7 minutes,
Okay.
that's fantastic. I'd love to hear your daughter say it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education show just before she goes to
Education
bed.
show, yeah.
Come back. Let me.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm not sure if you can still hear me.
Let me come back.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
okay, yes, we can hear you if you're.
Okay. So I missed the question. I'm not sure I heard you right. Yeah. Sorry.
Dr. Motala says it should be. It's always
The best.
a great
Shh.
day. Okay, so but let's just get to go further, and maybe use this to lead to the drawing the curtains on the show today, and
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me now?
yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So please, what was your question again?
So it's still on toys. We're talking about what about toys, and I really want to find out from you. What do you think will be the response of our educators, teachers in particular, when we find an emergence or an influx of toy invasion into the sector?
Okay. Well, I'm not sure I really, got that, but I'll just give my thoughts, okay, on this. And with regards to toys, children, the truth is, children need plenty of opportunities to play with, and somehow you find that children gravitate towards it. They tend to know that this is important to them, and so they will naturally gravitate towards toys. And so I think it's most of the industries, or most of the toy industries, know this, and they work on finding ways to bring out the same thing in a new way over and over again. And it's an important part of children's life, so taking it off will not be an option. I have lots and lots of toys. I have and I tell you, as a teacher, every day I go out, my eyes are not necessarily looking for, but they are open to seeing things around me that could capture children's attention. And so for me, toys are not necessarily defined by the industry that prepares it, or that manufactures it, but it's, for me, it's defined by the use of it. Okay, so choosing the right toy for your child is very important, or choosing the right toy to use. There are a number of things to one should consider. Number of things one should think about. Is that toy safe? Let's talk about safety and what measures you need to put in place to ensure that, okay, even if that toy has its risks, there are measures in place to guide the child with that play. Is that toy or object encouraging creativity? Is it encouraging creativity? And if it's encouraging creativity, to what extent? Is it developmentally appropriate for the age and stage of that child? So there's a lot that comes into just choosing and buying, choosing a toy or buying a toy for a child. So I don't know if I've touched a little bit on what you are asking, but one thing we have to look at is this: it has to nurture the child's development. And if it's not doing that, then we need to step back and think of what we can do, because everything we do for children is to drive their learning and to drive their development. And if a toy or an object of play is not doing that for a child, then we need to reassess its importance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Back
you
to
for
you,
that.
sir.
Yes. So you've been able to open our eyes to see that, toys must be functional and toys must be appropriate. So it's not a one size fits all. And really, I want to bring this question back to Fee, and then I'm coming to Dr. Motola. Are toys meant for children only? Fee, could you just open our eyes and understanding to this reality very quickly?
No, toys are not meant for children only. I have been looking for a fidget spinner for some time as an adult, and yeah,
Yeah.
myself with a little soft. When you're looking for thin pillows, when you're looking for all those soft plush toys, teddy bears, and all of that, you're likely going to find like two around me. Toys are not just for yeah. I'm a toy
Let's
lover.
talk
Like
about the teddy bears. Yes, I love them teddy bears.
Yeah. And then I like toys.
You like,
yeah, you like everybody likes toys. Toys makes everybody happy. I mean, you have a toy and
And your
you're
mom
happy.
is a toy as well.
what did you say, sir?
I said a mommy could also be a toy as well.
Oh,
Mommy,
on
you
your
need to.
own.
My
So for
name is
me,
not toy.
It's a toy Sunday, so it's allowed. As Finn was speaking, I remember there's a song we normally used to sing while we were younger. So it feels like we are superimposing that song into what we are saying. It's like saying, I have toys, 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 toys. Well, actually, it's I have joy. So, Finn, you can carry on. Hello, Finn, are you there?
okay, yeah, I'm here. I'm not sure if it's from my end or there is a fluctuation in the connection. I'm not hearing clearly in one swoop. Okay, so well, I was saying that I don't see toys for children only, and that's why we talk about age appropriateness. There are certain toys that are not age appropriate for children, and then there are certain toys that are not appropriate for adults. For instance, if you see an adult, maybe someone someone who is not a child, who is not a baby with a rattle, you begin to wonder what's going on. Why do you have a rattle? But if you see well, men are a whole lot more guilty of this. Pardon me, guys, but a lot of men are stuck to their PSPs. That's full adult toy, and they are there. They run championships on the PSP. You see them. I've seen guys go online talk about, oh, I beat you to this. I just, like, seriously. So those are our toys that make us toys generally make us happy, make
At
us
this
feel relaxed.
point, Finn, Polo, I have to
I
stand in
didn't
for
get
the men, and I have to stand in for the men at this point. So, Finn, please, 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 okay, please.
okay. All the toys are just are meant for different ages. And that's where I believe that when we talk about age appropriateness, it steps in. It's just apt at that point. Thank you.
All right. Since it's a toy Sunday, we don't want you to feel we are toying with your Sunday or toiling with it. We just want you to know that we look forward to a situation where we have a robust sector that is not just tilting towards content, right? On that note, I would like to find out as Dr. Motola shares a parting shots. We'll go to Dr. Motola, then we'll move quickly to Ifyok and then back to Fee, and then we'll call it a day. So, Dr. Motola, over to you.
Yeah. So what I would say is that don't be afraid to be childlike. As you can see, my son in the background is being childlike. So childlikeness means that you can still enjoy sometimes. And like Tim said it already, there's so many toys, and it's not just for. Even if you're 98 years old, you can still have a toy can still be valuable to you in one way or form. So be childlike and don't be close to creativity using toys. Thank you.
Thank you. Ifyok, parting shots. Ifyok, we can hear you. Hello, Ifyok. We can't hear you clearly. Fee.
My pattern shots on toys will be that our toys, when we see toys and we interact with toys, they should define what learning is fun is. That every toy we pick up should be a moving definition of learning is fun. And one thing to be added to that, I would add learning is fun and safe. So we should also think about the safety of children as we design toys, and also think about the safety of adults as we design toys. Thank you.
All right. If you're are you back? Are you clear now?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's clear. It's clear.
Okay. Okay, good. So I was just saying that working with toys demands, or for growing up into being a full-blown individual adult who makes reasonable contributions to his or her society, and for children particularly in this age, it requires a lot of a combination of skills. The other day we were talking about soft skills. Toys are one way that children can use to learn soft skills. So, when choosing a toy for your children, be sure that it can encourage those, those skills that we're talking about. So, children must be able to experience a full range of emotions. So let the toys be multi-sensory. Let it equip not just only one sense, but let it involve all their senses. And that way they could get the best results or the best benefits from them.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a great session today, but we are coming tomorrow. And as usual, remember the Good Morning Education Show is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Today was a fast track because we want to get people set for the new session, for the new term, for the new week. And we'll be tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And it's always going to be a great one. As we sign off, please remember, it's time that we toy with the idea of toys. So at the count of 2, we're going to give our sign off. Ladies, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
1, 2, go.
Yes, I am.
Always
It's
a
always
great
a
day
great
on the
morning
Good
on
Morning
the Good
Education
Morning Education Show.
Oh, have a great day. Have a
I'm
great
coming
week ahead.
now.
Take care. Take care, little Israel. Take care,
Okay, bye. Good
little.
night.
Bye.